Hello, everyone. Okay, that was weak. Hello, everyone. Hello. There we go. Awesome. So, let's get started. Mike Weiser, a very famous computer scientist, made this statement that I'm putting up here. And when you take that statement and you impose it on the web today, it rings very true. It's become an indistinguishable part of our lives, woven into the fabric of everyday life. The web is something that we interact with every day. In fact, data has it that 60% of the time that you spend on your desktop or your phone is actually on the web. All right, so what does that tell us? Whether you're a student or a teacher in the educational sector, information worker, IT pro, developer in the enterprise, you need the web. It is important, and that's why I talked to a couple of you before the session started. You're here to know why should I choose this new browser that Microsoft has come out with. So, my name is Wally Martins, and I want to give you the top 10 reasons why you will choose the next version of Microsoft Edge. Now, full disclosure, I work on the Microsoft Edge enterprise team, so take that as you may. Number 10. So you guys saw this already. We had this new change for this new browser, and all I want you to take away from this particular reason is this new icon symbolizes a commitment to the new, to a new journey with all of you, to a modern web. And we wanted you to step in and take that journey with us. And I will start right now. All right. You know, I'm from Seattle, and when I go to my coffee shop, I go in and I ask for, hey, I want my sugar-free vanilla latte, extra hot, triple shot, almond milk, no foam. And right now, every time I walk in, they know me already. They start making my coffee. I don't need to say anything. That's awesome, right? Someone's laughing over there, yes. But when we take that, three things happen. I want you to notice three things there. One, they recognized me. Two, they know what I want. And three, they removed the friction between me getting what I want and the knowledge of me. So I'm able to get things faster. So when you take that and bring that to the browser or to the enterprise, let's think about it for a second, right? We know who you are when you sign into the browser, into your laptop or your phone, right? Why can't we use that and take that information to show you some interesting things and say, hey, if you have this Azure Active Directory identity, let's bring that into the browser and start to, hey, welcome. We know something about you that we can bring into the browser. I'll show you an example with a demo. All right, so right now you see I'm logged in to this account with that's not me, by the way, that's my persona, it's Lynn, and she's logged in with her corporate identity. It says lynnr@fabricam.com. With that identity, we can do some interesting things. One, I can show all the things that Lynn has worked on in the past. So the Office, the Microsoft Graph, we take that and we show you the recommended files, things that you worked on yesterday, 2 days ago, last week. Things you worked on with your colleagues are all shown here. In addition to that, we can start to also put the frequent sites, the HR sites, the IT sites. Those things are also right there at your fingertips. But that's not all. In addition to all of this, let me go back to my slide. So first of all, I said number 9, which is seamless access. Just make it possible for me to walk into my coffee shop, get the coffee I need without you asking me silly questions like, who are you? Sign in here, sign in there. You want that friction to be removed, and that's what we do. But that's not where we stop. It is important that we go forward. And why is that important? There's something in the corporate world today that we call corporate hide and seek. I think all of you here play that game. You're looking for that file. You're looking for that intranet site. You're looking for that colleague you worked with 5 days ago or in the remote branch. And you start looking and you start we actually spend 20% of our time looking for information. That is 1 day out of every week where your information workers are looking for data. That's a lot of time. And so when you go back to the fact that we've laid this bedrock with your identity, what else can we do to make things interesting for you? So let's go to number 8, and I'll go back again to my demo. So if we know that this is Lynn logged in, and Lynn looks for, let's say, Adele. Right here, you see the internet results showing things like, Adele songs, the famous Adele. But then we can also bring in things within the corporate network. So at the bottom here, you see something that says Adele Vance. When I click on that, notice what happens. It brings up Lynn's colleague, Adele Vance, so I'm Lynn in this case, and it shows not just information about the organization, the files that we worked on together that I have access to. Again, that identity is being used all over the place to make sure, okay, if Lynn has access to this file and Adele has worked on it, I can show that to Lynn. So that corporate identity I talked about is very important for this. It shows the groups that we belong to together. It shows the calendar that Lynn has, and I can see any upcoming meetings. So those are the things we can do to make your end users' lives much easier and to find things that be more productive. So that's number 8, finding stuff. When your end users ask you, I talked to the folks in front, I said, what do you want to get from this? And they said, give me reasons why I should move to the new Microsoft Edge. When your end users ask you, why should I move to this new browser? It's that we make it possible for you to find things faster, find things that are within your corporate network. Like today, it's actually easier to find things on the internet than within your corporate network. That's going to change with the new Microsoft Edge. All right, one more problem for the end user is we work from everywhere with everything, phones, tablets, PCs, and we're doing this while we're traveling at home. So we heard this, and this was feedback from you. You said, look, I want a browser that goes with me to where my users are. So what have we done with this version of Microsoft Edge? That brings me to number 7. We brought Microsoft Edge on the Mac. Now, I'm not a Mac user, and someone is smiling at me over there. I'm not a Mac user, but I have friends that use Macs, and now I can say to them, we now have Edge on the Mac. And it's not just on the Mac. It's everywhere you told us your users are. So you can see this on Windows 10, on Mac OS, Windows 8.1, Windows 7, Windows Server, on Android. And for those that I know you'll ask me very soon, we're going to Linux as well. Someone said it over there. So this is actually very important, right? Because you told us this is something that you want where your users are, and now we're making that possible. We are fully cross-platform. So I know the thing, who are the IT pros in the room here? All right, so I know the IT pros are thinking right now, well, okay, you're doing all these great things for the end user, but I think you're about to make my life difficult because I need to secure all of this stuff. How are you going to do that? So I have something for you guys as well. We know that you can't be everywhere to stop the user. Oh, don't click that site. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. You can't do that. You don't have enough time in your day. You can't be everywhere every time. And so what do? We believe that there is a tension within the enterprise. One is you can let your users do anything they want to do. Go to any website, download anything, and then you find yourselves on the front pages of tech news, hacked. That's not a good place to be. On the other hand, you can choose to lock everything down and say, hey, I need to protect you. I need to secure things. And then people don't get things done. You ask them for their great-great-great-grandfather's password or last favorite teacher just to get them to have access. That's not a good place to be as well. So we're looking for that balance, for that place where they can have the right healthy mix of access to things they need, but still security and safety when they're on the web. How do we do that? We provide you tools that I'm going to show you. So let's imagine a scenario where, again, I'm Adele, this time I'm Lynn, and I need to go to my company's portal. I go there, it logs on, does everything it needs to do. But what if I need to go to a website that you, the IT admin, you don't trust that website? What you can do is you can create a whitelist, which is, I know this website. When Lynn tries to go there, it's OK. But there's some that I don't trust. What do we do then? So let's try to go to Spikes and Valley. You notice what it's doing there? It's bringing up an isolated instance of the browser based on Application Guard. What that instance is a very locked down instance. When you look at my taskbar over here, you see this lock icon over here. That is saying to that particular website, you can only work within this framework, within this sandbox. So you cannot do any malicious things that can either hurt my user or my network and my data. That is one of the knobs that we give you as the IT Pro to secure things down in this world of a lot of information that users need to get to. But there's more than that. What if I'm actually still going to a legit site, but it's been hacked? So this is a very common scenario. Let's go to, say, Outlook. And I get this nice-looking email that looks like, OK, things look OK. It's from someone I know, Alex. And so I'm feeling this is OK. And I'm about to click on this site. You guys are familiar with this. We detect that right away. But watch, this is actually a safe site. And it says, hey, do not proceed any further. This we've detected is a phishing site. There's some malware here, and we're stopping you from going forward. So that is part of the security that we give to you, the IT Pro, to protect your users, to protect your company's data, to protect your network from malicious things. So yes, we've taken that tension between flexible and always easy for users to get access and find things, and secure and safe, so you don't end up in a place where things get hacked. All right, so that's reason number 6, which is safety and security. So now, again, IT pros are looking at me. OK, Wale, I'm glad we have all these knobs, but does that mean more management tools? No, it doesn't. We don't want to make your lives more complicated, so we've taken all of these knobs and tweaks and made them available in the same familiar tools that you use today. Someone want to guess? Give me an example. That's good policy, but then what management interface? Configuration manager. So this is something that we've integrated the management of Edge into Config Manager. And it's not just Config Manager. We also know some of you use our famous Intune. We've also made that possible to manage this new browser within Intune. Sorry, I went too fast there. And we're also making sure that this is also available in Jamf for those of you that manage Mac OS. So all of the things that you're used to already, we make sure that you can manage from there, and we're not introducing more stuff for you to think about, for you to manage. So that's simplified management. But we have one more thing for the IT Pro. This is interesting. So when you look at some of the browsers out there today, and they talk about trust and compliance, when they say incognito mode, what does that really mean? Sometimes it's telling you, oh, you're in incognito mode, but then it's still sending information back about your browsing history, about cookies that it's put in there, about services that are reporting back to headquarters. We at Microsoft take trust and compliance very seriously. And so it is important to us. The first thing that we did with this new browser is number 4. Sorry? Yes, it's real. Zero exhaust for third parties. We took away all of the Google services in Chromium engine that report anything back to Google, and we replaced them with our own trusted services. And you don't take my word for it. 2 of them, 2 critical ones, the Microsoft Enterprise Sync, which is something that we know a lot of you use, as well as the Microsoft Enterprise Search, which I just showed you. We also did the work to make this enterprise compliant. And I'll give you an example. We make sure, for example, that when you do a search, that it stays within the trusted compliance boundary of in your control, and with transparency of what we do with the data. So at all times, you can trust that we're doing the right thing with your data. We're not reporting anything back to ourselves that we're not telling you about, and we're keeping that in the compliance boundary all of the time. So that is another important thing for us. That's I'm losing count here. Thank you. So that was the one I told you that you wouldn't believe, number 4. All right, so IT pros, one last thing. I know this looks like a lot of stuff, a long journey. Wale, this sounds like I have to go from point A all the way to point Z. What are you going to do to help that journey? When can I start? We get it. We understand that. Again, as a company where our DNA is working with IT pros, bringing you simplified management, we want to tell you, and we want to give you these assurances, 3 things. For those of you familiar with Aperture, let me start with Fast Track, actually. If you say today, I want to go deploy the new Edge, we make Fast Track deployment assistance available to you. They will help you with deploying and adopting Edge within your environment. I actually work with our team closely, and they are ready to take customers on. So if you're ready to go today, we will start that journey with you. Second, Aperture. If you run into anything that doesn't work as you expect it to with the new Edge browser, with Aperture, we're saying to you that we will fix those at no additional cost to you. So, it takes a company like Microsoft to put our money where our mouth is in that regard. Because, thank you, we've done a lot of work to make sure that this works for you, and when it doesn't, we're saying we will come fix it. No other company makes that claim. Last but not least, you already have your unified and premier support. We also make sure that you don't need to pay any additional cost to support the new Microsoft Edge. It is part and parcel of what you have already with us. So we're helping to maximize your investments, your existing investments in the Microsoft M365. That is important to you and to us as well. So that's number 3. We got your back. We are not just saying that. It is true, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. All right. By the way, I need a drum roll for number 1, so get ready, by the way. So I've talked about end users. I've talked about IT pros. There's some persona that I haven't gotten to yet. Good, well done, but I will get there. You just gave me my number 1. Thank you. But yeah, it's developers, right? Because we heard the feedback, right? There's a lot of pain that our developers, web developers go through today, where they have to deal with this matrix of this browser that behaves this way, that browser that behaves that way. It's a pain for developers. And so we've also done work, and that work is actually a multi-layered work. By moving to the Chromium engine, we've already made a big gain for developers. And that brings me to number 2, which is we now make it a common platform that brings the best of the web for developers. It was very simple for us. We heard the feedback, and we knew we had to do 2 things: reduce complexity, reduce fragmentation. And so with this common platform, we're able to have the same standards that developers use when they're building for Chrome, because we're using the same Chromium engine. We're able to make sure the extensions that work there will work here. We make sure that progressive web apps work the way you expect. If you come to the Microsoft booth, or one of my colleagues has a session on the dev tools or the dev work we've done, you will see some of this in action, where it's so easy to take a web app and make that work locally without any web connections. And last but not least is also the web dev tool that we've also enhanced to make web development on the new Edge just as good as any other browser out there today. So for your developer audiences and friends and colleagues, please let them know that we are ready to party with them as well. All right, like I said, drum roll. Let's go. Thank you. Number 1. So this is something I see this, like I go through this, you go through this. You wake up in the morning, get to work. Which way do I go down? I have this legacy things that I need to go, make work. I have to go down this IE lane. And then I get down that lane, or I need to come back out and go down this modern web browser lane, either Edge or Chrome. It's a pain for everybody. It's a pain for end users. It's a pain for developers. It's a pain for IT pros. And so how do we solve that? By the way, I said eeny-meeny browser mode. You wake up and start thinking, which one do I choose? Well, it's something we call, and I'll switch back to my demo, IE mode. Let me kill this. So I showed you the portal earlier. And let me go to a modern tool that my company has built for checking issues for customers. This is an issue tracker. Take a look. It renders correctly. I can interact with this and make things work. But then I need to go to now some legacy site and web app that was built like 23 years ago that I need to go worry about. Let's see what happens in that case. It's a customer visit scheduler. Look at that. It just works. Within the same browser, I can go back and forth just to show you how easy that was. Modern, legacy. I don't need to jump from one browser to the other. I don't need to do anything special here. It just works. And we know that this is something that every one of you've had to manage 2, 3, 4 browsers. This is no longer the case. It's now a single browser solution for all your browsing needs. So we strongly believe that with this new browser, this is the browser for the enterprise. Let me go back to my slides. By the way, those that are trying to clap, it's okay to clap. I'm okay with that. Thank you. All right, so this is my top 10, and I know there are questions, but my top 10 list. 1, it's a new journey we're starting. and we're inviting you on that journey with us. We're taking a seamless approach for your users to get access to information that they need, to find stuff more easily from anywhere with any device, and to do that with safety and security. And we make it possible for you, the IT pro, to still be able to manage this from existing and known and familiar tools. And also, making sure that you can still trust us, because that's what we do as Microsoft, is to make sure that we are always trustworthy with the things that you give us to hold, to be custodians of. We also have your back when things don't work. We're always there with you every step of the journey. And like I said earlier, we have the best of the modern web for your developers. And last but not least, no site left behind. Everything comes along with this new Edge. So Microsoft Edge, if you have to remember one thing from this, this is the browser for your business. This is the browser for enterprise. There's a lot of sessions I want you to check out. Some of them happened already, but if you can, go watch the recording, because they go into a lot more detail than I was able to go into in 20 minutes. And then there's some more coming up. Deployment. Steve over there is going to cover more about IE mode right there. We have web development, my colleague Kyle. We have security. That's going to be Arunesh. It's going to be on Friday. If you come to that, we have a lot more stickers that we're trying to order. You can get it from there, so FYI, insider. We have mobile. We have Mac OS, and we have PDF sessions. And last but not least, please, if you want to give us feedback, I know I'm going to talk to a lot of you after this session, but we have these interactive sessions where you can sit down on a round table with our engineers and discuss and say, hey, these are the things that are working. These are the things that are not working. Oh, have you thought about this? So it's a very good time for you to engage with us. With that, I am done, and thank you very much for attending.